biskupe Mijogorski, pomoćni biskupe Zagrebački, poštovani dekane Filozofskog fakulteta, sveučilištu u Zagrebu, Filozofskog fakulteta Družbe Isusove, poštovani predstavnici Hrvatske liječničke komore, Hrvatske komore medicinskih sestara, predstavnici, zapravo tu je gospodin direktor Kršćanske sadašnjosti izdavačke kuće koja je izdala knjigu Hrabrost, prevlada, poštovani predstavniče gradonačelnika Bandića, poštovani gospodine potpredsjedniče Odbora za vanjsku politiku Hrvatskog sabora, dame i gospodo, dragi prijatelji, posebice studenti, dobrodošli na ovo naše današnje predavanje koje će održati doktorica Esther Gitman. Srdačno vas pozdravljam u ime Hrvatskog katoličkog sveučilišta na ovom akademskom činu. Moram reći da mi je posebna čast da mogu u svoje ime, u ime naše cjelokupne sveučilišne zajednice, u ime svojih prorektora koji su ovdje isto tako prisutni i pročelnice studija povijesti, svih nas, pozdraviti vas na ovom za nas uistinu važnom događaju. Doktorica Gitman, koja je, možemo reći, naš i prijatelj, ali i gost predavač, došla je ovdje u Zagreb na naše sveučilište da bi našim studentima, jednoj grupi studenata, 20 njih, održala izborno predavanje o spašavanju i načinima spašavanja Židova u nezavisnoj državi Hrvatskoj. Mi smo joj na tome od srca zahvalni. Ja na poseban način pozdravljam nju. Ester, dobrodošla. Ona je već zapravo naš član sveučilišne zajednice ova 3 tjedna, svaki dan, revno, po više od 2 sata. Ona održava predavanje sa studentima ovdje od jutra do večeri, u svom kabinetu s njima razgovara. Oni već pripremaju svoje radove na temu i uistinu nam čini veliku radost njeno prisustvo, a uz to učimo i o tom važnom i mnogo čemu, nažalost, tragičnom dijelu naše hrvatske povijesti. Neću duljiti, njoj ću prepustiti da ona govori o temi koja je danas veoma specifična i govori o spašavanju 169 židovskih liječnika i njihovih obitelji. Mi smo se odlučili zajedno s njom za ovu temu, imajući u vidu da je njena knjiga Hrabrost, prevlada, koju možete i ovdje nabaviti po prigodnom popustu, već predstavljena i ovdje u Zagrebu, i u Rijeci i Osijeku, i to, rekao bih, veoma uspješno, sa puno interesa i zanimanja, i na tome zahvaljujem i hrvatskim medijima koji su ovdje prisutni, koji su pokazali zanimanje za tu knjigu i za to djelo. Mi smo se odlučili za jednu specifičnu temu koja govori i koja je posebice doktorica Gitman obradila o jednom važnom dijelu upravo tog procesa spašavanja onih Židova koji su preživjeli tragični događaj holokausta. Ja isto tako, kao rektor sveučilišta, moram na poseban način zahvaliti profesoru doktoru Juri Krišti, koji je ovdje među nama, koji je od početka isto tako surađivao sa doktoricom Esther Gitman i koji nam je i kao nositelj kolegija pomogao da ostvarimo ovo gostovanje, koji je pratio naravno i izdanje i stručnu redakciju same knjige i koji će onako mene kao uvod u ovo predavanje isto tako reći par riječi. Evo, nadam se uistinu jednom dobrom, važnom predavanju koje će osvijetliti, kažem, da je jedan važan dio naše povijesti. Među nama je trebao biti i danas doktor Theodor Grüner, jedini preživjeli iz te skupine liječnika od 169 koliko ih je bilo. Nažalost, evo, u zadnji trenutak prije sat i po vremena, moramo razumjeti njegovu dob, se ispričao da nije mogao doći ovdje. Još jednom hvala vam lijepo na dolasku, a sada riječ prepuštam profesoru doktoru Juri Krišti.
Hvala lijepa, gospodine. Da ne nabrajam koga sve treba pozdraviti, ja vas sve srdačno pozdravljam u svoje ime. I samo nekoliko riječi o samoj knjizi, već je rečeno da je možete ovdje nabaviti, pa evo samo par riječi. Knjiga doktorice Esther Gitman Hrabrost, prevlada je višeznačna. Ona se može promatrati pod vidom da je to knjiga o stradanju Židova u NDH, da je to knjiga o ljudima koji su spašavali Židove u NDH, ali također i knjiga o načinima preživljavanja. I to je uistinu u tom smislu jako zanimljiva knjiga. No, ovo je već treće predstavljanje knjige na kojemu sudjelujem, a kako ja obično ne volim ponavljati ono što sam rekao negdje drugdje, makar nitko drugi nije čuo, zato jednostavno evo par riječi o nekim pitanjima koja smo mogli čuti putujući po raznim dijelovima Hrvatske. Naime, kao da se postavlja pitanje zašto se objavio prijevod na hrvatskom jeziku, zašto je predstavljanje u Hrvatskoj, zašto je Esther došla na katoličko sveučilište i tako dalje. Meni su odgovori na ta pitanja vrlo jednostavni, a postoji jedan izuzetno važan razlog i ja ga u svoje ime dijelim s vama. Ja mislim da je ova knjiga i Esterina prisutnost među nama jedan doprinos ozdravljenju hrvatskog društva. Osobno mislim, a vjerujem da je to bila i temeljna misao i uprave Hrvatskog katoličkog sveučilišta, da dirigirani odnos prema povijesnim činjenicama stvara nezdravo ozračje i proizvodi bolesno stanje u hrvatskom društvu. I što je još možda ili jednako važno, to nije dobra historiografija. Odnos doktorice Gitman prema povijesnim činjenicama je pošten, objektivan i profesionalan. Te činjenica da je preživjela Židovka u NDH čini njezinu interpretaciju povijesti vrijednošću koju Hrvatsko katoličko sveučilište želi prenijeti svojim studentima. Eto barem nekih razloga zašto i nekih odgovora na ona pitanja koja sam malo prije postavljao. Tu nema izostavljanja nikoga tko je bio uključen u spašavanje Židova. Ni pojedinaca, ni skupina, ni partizana, ni ustaša, ni nadbiskupa Stipinca i drugih svećenika i časnih sestara, niti ikoga drugoga. Dakle, ono što je našla u dokumentima, to pošteno iznosi pred javnost i kaže, evo, to se događalo i to se dogodilo. I to je nešto što je vrijedno i što mi smatramo da trebamo podijeliti s drugima. I tu nema opravdanja nikoga. Ako se primjerice kaže da je među ustaškim dužnosnicama niskoga i najvišega ranga bilo onih koji su spašavale Židove, o tomu će Ester danas govoriti, time se ne niječu zločini koje je taj režim učinio. Uostalom, ne bi ni moglo biti govora o spašavanju da nije bilo velikog ubijanja. Je li točno? Nadam se da jest. Židovski prvaci u svijetu, još tijekom i na kraju rata, posvjedočili su da je Stepinac jedan od najhrabrijih prelata cijele Europe. No svijet je 1946. prihvatio zaključak montiranog procesa protiv Stepinca da je on ratni zločinac. I jest, treba priznati i to. I ne treba kriti ni to. Jest, mnogi Židovi su također prihvatili taj pravorijek montiranog procesa. I to je važilo dugi niz godina. Uvjeren sam da smo dužni prestati s historiografijom koja se poziva na komunističke montirane procese kao na relevantan povijesni izvor, te se vratiti vjerodostojnim povijesnim izvorima i svjedocima poput, recimo, Louisa Bryera, koji je rekao ono o nadbiskupu Stepincu. Zaključit ću. Knjiga doktorice Gitman doprinos je onomu što nazivam pomirenjem dviju hrvatskih povijesnih priča. U novijoj hrvatskoj povijesti nije bilo samo pravednika, ali nije bilo ni samo zločinaca. To moramo priznati najprije jedni drugima i tražiti kod drugih pravednike, a ne na prvom mjestu zločince. I ja sam uvjeren, ja se samo nadam da ćete sa mnom podijeliti to uvjerenje, to će dovesti do ujedinjenoga i pravednoga povijesnog narativa, a on i do ozdravljenja hrvatskog društva. Knjiga kolegice i prijateljice Esther Gitman doprinos je tom procesu. I ja u svoje ime njoj na tomu zahvaljujem, a mi smo svi skupa, nadam se, sretni zbog toga što je ona među nama. Zahvaljujem.
Good day, dobar dan. Ja ću, kad svršim, govoriti malo hrvatski. Sada ćemo mi čitati malo na engleski. I would like to thank the Catholic University and Professor Željko Tanić, director of the university, for giving me this unusual opportunity to present a chapter in Holocaust history, which is little known, yet I believe it is of great importance. That is the rescue of Jews in the independent state of Croatia, nezavisna država Hrvatska, NDH. I would also like to thank the kršćanska sadašnjost, Reverend Robert Schreiter, for publishing my book, Hrabrost, prevlada, to Professor Jure Krišto for his support along the years, to ever so helpful staff of this university, to the students whom I like to teach and listen to, and last but not least, to you, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. The presentation today focuses on the rescue of 169 Jewish physicians and their immediate family, approximately 650 Jews. I have selected this topic to present here because it is in a university, and historiographically and methodologically, it is one of the most complete example of cooperation between Croats, between the government, between ordinary people. It was just an effort. It included even the Muslims that were healed and never revealed that there are Jews there. So I elected to tread into the uncharted territory of the rescued Jews within the broader context of Holocaust history in NDH, not only because I am a Holocaust survivor, but primarily because my research convinced me that rescue and survival of thousands of Jews in a very hostile environment and under difficulties demonstrated to us and to future generations that dictators like Hitler, Mussolini, and Pavlich and their misguided philosophies and policies can be defeated when people of goodwill join forces. Thus, here the aim is not to diminish the Ustasha responsibility for the heinous crimes and the annihilation of 30,000 Jewish men, women, and children. And here I would like just to say that in the Bible, in the Old Testament, it is commanded on us to remember Amalek, a traitor and a killer. So we remember what Amalek did to us. However, the broad perception that the entire Croatian population was culpable must be challenged. And here also we have the story of Abraham, who challenged God and say, how are you going to destroy the city of Sodom and Gomorrah? What if there are 50 people righteous there? And he said, well, if there are 50 righteous, I will save the city. And then he went down to the 10, and he said, even if 10, we cannot condemn the city for destruction, and there was only one. So he destroyed the city, but saved the one. Here also you will see, we are not speaking today about Archbishop Stepinac, but for him, every individual, every soul was created in the image of God, and he went to save every soul that he could in whichever way he could. We cannot go to the subject of rescue of Jews in Croatia without a little bit going into the mutiny against the Judeo-Christian ethics. In the context of our subject today, it is of essence to understand the nature and the philosophy that propelled the Nazi Germany. In short, it was the interaction of three forces: the abandonment of social restraint, it means killing is okay, the pursuit of a nationalistic social utopia, and we'll discuss it, and the formation of modern theocracy, namely without a God. This Nazi worldview asserts that it is not terror and blood that German ideology promulgated, it was a reward, an utopia in which an idyllic group of people would govern the world, which will have no friction without political parties. The Nazi objective was to establish a new world hierarchy based on race, where the Germans were the master race and the Jews were subhuman. In this hierarchical system, the Germans had the duty, not only the right, to rule, to enslave, and to murder those they viewed as different. Their ideology was illuminated in the slogan, "Today Germany belongs to us, tomorrow the entire world." And the Nazi planning elite came to the conclusion that this they can achieve by a war on a global scale and, as I said, racial ideology. Franz Neumann, the German jurist and political scientist, identified industry, bureaucracy, the party, and the military as four pillars upon which the Third Reich was erected. The fusion of the entire German nation, including those who lived abroad, like here in Croatia, you had 500,000 Volksdeutsche, ensured that concessions were not an option. Thus, compromise was perceived not only as a mark of intellectual laziness, but as an outright criminal act, be it by SS officers, civil servants, academics, businessmen, or ordinary citizens. Germany's ultimate aim was to harness large tracts of Europe for the interest of the German economy and the world hegemony. The solution offered by SS leader Heinrich Himmler was summed up by saying the only way to solve German economic problems in Europe is for one lot to kill the others and take their land. So, killing on a grand scale. The creation of the independent state of Croatia on April 10, 1941, when German troops were nearing Zagreb, the Nazi agents decided to arrange the proclamation of the independent state to coincide with the entry of German military forces to demonstrate who is in control. It is no wonder then that many historians suggested that without German tanks and bayonets on Croatian territory, no proclamation of a Croatian state could have been successful. Thus, the new state was the offspring of the Wehrmacht and the German subversive agents. The Axis powers Nazi Germany and Fascist Italy instructed Croatia to annex Bosnia and Herzegovina, headed by the Ustaše and their pro-Nazi leader, Dr. Ante Pavelić. At that moment, in fact, Yugoslavia's brief history of 23 years from 1918 to 1941 ended, as did the Union of Jewish Communities. The dismemberment of Yugoslavia, as you know, also resulted in one of the bloodiest civil wars for the future domination of the country. 4 different forces were involved: the Croatian and Bosnian Ustaše, the 500,000 Volksdeutsche, which are from Yugoslav citizens from German ancestry, the Serbian royalist Chetniks, and the partisans. Apart from the partisans, unfortunately, the other 3 entities decided to engage in the murder of Jews. The first task that Nazi Germany assigned to NDH was, as the official record indicate, the first task, assigned to NDH regime was to resolve the Jewish question with the solution to include 2 main components. First, to confiscate their assets for the sake of the Croatian people. Second, to physically exterminate them in the various camps. This Nazi philosophy was conceived by Hitler and formulated by Alfred Rosenberg. From April 10, 1941 to the end of July 1942, Ustaše humiliated, robbed, interned, exploited, and murdered Jews on NDH territory. After that, I guess that the NDH authorities were not that efficient anymore, and the Nazi regime decided they will take it over, and from 1942, the Jews, with the help of the Ustaše and the Gestapo, shipped the Jews to Poland, to their occupied territories, primarily to Auschwitz and then to other places. On April 17, 1941, only 2 days after Pavelić entered Zagreb, his government implemented the first anti-Semitic legislative act called for the protection of the Croatian people in the state. It established the basis for subsequent persecution of Jews. This act stated anyone who compromises or has compromised in any way the honor of the Croatian people and their vital interests, or who endangers in any way the existence of the independent state of Croatia and its ruling authorities, even if such an act is merely attempted, is guilty of the crime of high treason, velezdaja. But since the identification of Jews as national enemy did not enjoy automatic or universal acceptance, the next day in the daily news, Novi List, the Ustaše proceeded to elaborate on the measure and warn those who might help Jews to arrest them. On April 13, the Ustaše enacted second act, charging the Jews with collective responsibility for the dissemination of lies about the conduct of the government. For this, then, the authorities have determined that the Jews must be dealt with collective responsibility, and the punishment was murder in concentration camps. The outcome of the decrees had also an interesting twist. As was mentioned earlier, 3 of every 4 Jews from Croatia and Bosnia-Herzegovina perished during World War II. Yet 169 physicians were exempted by Croatian officials, by the very government that sent the others to concentration camp. The rescue of the doctors reveals much about the dynamic between the Nazi occupiers and their Ustashe collaborators. Coming to power with the support of their German sponsor on April 10, the Ustashe, as we said, proclaimed the independent state of Croatia, but they also embraced at the same time the Muslim population, and as was known even before the war, most of the population, especially in the mountains, was suffering from the epidemic of endemic syphilis. Thus, the Nazi draconian proclamation the Jews were the national enemies did not have a universal acceptance, not even among the Ustashe hierarchy. Moreover, because of the arbitrary of the justice in NDH, many people were sent to concentration camp, but people in authority, among them ordinary citizens, Archbishop Stepinac, some NDH government official, and many others developed the practice of reinventing and means to negate the regulations. To exemplify the public involvement in the rescue of Jews, I would like to share with you a few related documents, and this time the question is what constitutes a rescue, and you will see. I found, when I went to the archive in 2002 on a Fulbright fellowship, I had a whole year to be in the archive, and as former businesswoman that works usually 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, this is how I worked in the archive from the minute it opened until they closed, and then I continued at home. I found I went through thousands of documents, and I copied 5,000, and probably I skipped many of them, but it gave me a way to understand that rescue was prevalent. It was not one incidental matter like I was told when I came here. The first category that was established by NDH official was honorary Aryans. It was given to 100 Croatians who did extraordinary acts for Croatia and their families. So these were 500 people. Usually they allowed every such person to save his father, mother, wife, and children. The second category, and we will a little bit maybe go into it, was honorary Aryans. And these were people that were needed for the economy of the country, for the well-being of the roads, and so on. In this category, there were about 3,000 people, but of course, as the war went on and they were being sent to the concentration camp. But here we had a few thousand. The only category really that did not suffer much was the mixed marriages, which Archbishop Stepinac took under his wing. And when there was a danger that they will be all sent after Himmler came to Zagreb in 1943 and offered Pavelić credit line and money, and in exchange for all the Jews. Pavelić agreed, but Archbishop Stepinac said that if they will take the mixed marriages, he will close all the churches and the bells will ring without stop. So this quite scares them. Now there were also some very interesting documents that I have found, and not one and not two, but hundreds of them. And this is where ordinary citizens decided that they will write to the authorities and ask them to release individual Jews that were their neighbors, their friends, who were very helpful to them, to release them from concentration camp. This is one letter that you can read better than me. It's about Branka Spitzer, who had a little store, and when they confiscated the Jewish asset, they confiscated her store and put a poverenik there, a trustee, and the citizens were very angry because this family was so helpful to them. They wrote that they want the immediate return to the store to the family, and we see hundreds of people who put their signature and send it to publish. They hoped that this regime was new and they didn't know what they were doing, and this is why they sent this letter, and they hope that they will send the people back. Now, we know that in such a regime, dictatorial regime, that every name of these people, they could have been sent to concentration camp, and yet they risk their lives to save their neighbor or friend. We have also, when they also confiscated the companies, the businesses in Zagreb and in other places, it happened that the experts, the business people, the owners who knew how to conduct business were sent to concentration. They put again poverenici or trustees, and they had no idea what business was about. They thought that the business is the building, the machines, but without the brain, nothing works. So here we have a letter from a Hygia factory where the trustee requested to immediately release a man who was vitally important, William Berger. And we see here not only that the company sent it, but also that many of the employees requested his return because their livelihood depended on this person. Now we'll go to what really prompted the rescue of the Jewish physician. When the Ustaša regime annexed and embraced the Muslims of Bosnia and Herzegovina and considered them as pure Croats, the flower of Croatia, Dr. Ivan Ragus, the head of the Bosnian health services, wrote to the authorities asking for medical personnel who would provide cure for the Muslim population that had long been suffering from an epidemic of endemic syphilis. But since Dr. Ivan Petric, the Minister of Health, was inundated by a shortage of physicians after the purge of Jewish and Serbian medical staff, Ragus's request was shelved, put aside. However, it was not forgotten. Dr. Miroslav Schlesinger, a Jewish physician, had a conspiratorial theory. Dr. Stjepan Steiner, Dr. Theodor Gruner, who had to be today, and Dr. Dragan Stern, survivors and participate in the medical expedition, told me that the scheme to specifically engage the Jewish doctors in Bosnia was the brainchild of Miroslav Schlesinger. Schlesinger, while addressing the May 1941 deportation of the Jewish physician in the context of the general shortage of physicians in and the Hague, and the government's urgent obligation to cope with the syphilis, decided that they will try to arrange a mission to Bosnia. These are the role players: Dr. Ante Vuletic, Dr. Selsky, and some of the Jewish participants. Dr. Miroslav Schlesinger, with some of the Jewish physicians, decided that the only person that they would really trust and who was a friend was Dr. Ante Vuletic. They called him and asked him to please come and talk to them, and they explained that if really he will try, maybe they can save all the physicians that remain. And he knew about the shortage of physicians in Bosnia, because he was one endocrinologist who worked in this area. And he went and told this to Dr. Ivan Petric, the Minister of Health. And the Minister of Health, because he was under such pressure to help the Muslims, he agreed. And he was not an anti-Semite. They knew that he saved and made his former professor, Dr. Steinhardt, as an honorary Aryan. He said that he will see what can be done. And sure enough, Vuletic and the Jewish physician waited. Dr. Vuletic sent or gave the information to the 7 ministers and to Pavelic. The idea was accepted by 3 out of the 7 ministers, and Pavelic, after listening to them, he said, you know, I'll beg the proposal. I agree that we have to provide health to our Muslim brothers, and we can always eliminate the Jewish doctors. So the doctors got a room to maybe escape or whatever, but they were saved. And the doctors, the Jewish community in Zagreb had a list of all the physicians that are still around. And at the request of the Ministry of Health, sometimes in June 1941, the Jewish community in Zagreb canceled all the list of Jewish physicians to attend a special meeting that would be held in the Jewish community and in their new premises on Strossmayer Square for Zagreb. There the doctors were informed by the Ministry of Health that an excellent opportunity for survival existed for them and for their families if they volunteered to go to the mountains and heal the Muslim. They also informed them that no prior medical experience in this area was required. They will get 2 weeks training. And upon completion, the 2 weeks, the first group of 23 physicians was sent to Bosnia. But what is interesting, that they made this physician into government physicians. They were contract employees. They received salary. They were paid. Their assets in Zagreb were not touched. Their bank accounts were not closed. Their father, mother, and children were to join them, or if they wish, they could stay in Zagreb. Now, the duration of the employment contract was not specified. It only stated that it would be honored as long as both parties agree to it. Each physician was to be, as I said, compensated based on their previous experience. Dr. Alfred Neufeld from Zagreb, under the contract which you see there, received 4,000 kuna. Dr. Hinko Maric from Varaždin, under a special contract, was paid 5,000 kunas. Dr. Gruner, that had to be here today, was paid 4,900 kunas, and for a wife they received 300 kunas, and for every child 206 kunas. This is an example of a contract which was signed by the Minister of Health, by an administrator, and by the individual physician. And here we have the 4 Jewish medical teams that were dispatched to Bosnia. 2 of them were from Zagreb, and the others from various parts of Croatia. What is interesting here is that we have some women also, which is very interesting. And you see in group 5, we have 27 physicians that remain in the domobranstvo. They were not sent away from the army. In August 1941, another thing what has happened, that when the letters, invitation letters were sent to the physicians, there were those that were already sent to concentration camp, 12 of them. And the responsible for the program took them a year, but they all came back after a year, 11 to the syphilis mission and 1 to the domobranstvo. Now, you won't believe it, but I took document by document by document and composed the names of all the physicians, all the 69 of them, so that you can see it is individual documents, and also on the side I indicated what happened to them, what was their fate. What is interesting, that as long as they were within this program, no one, there was one who died from natural causes, no one was killed, no one died. In 1943, maybe some, even Dr. Steiner and his wife, also a physician, Dr. Zora Goldschmidt, they decided to leave in 1942. And in order to help them, they devised a plan where partisans would come to the center of the city and they would grab them so that there will be no excuse why to kill their families. So there were these acts that they composed, and this is how they managed to survive. Another thing that was very interesting, sometimes accidentally members of family were sent to concentration camp. They would get caught, they didn't have the documents of release. Dr. Selsky and Dr. Vuletic, who were responsible for this program, did everything that they could to release these members of family. And here we have a document. You see 12 doctors were informed that their family members were released from concentration camp and they are going to join them wherever they were. This was very exciting for me, and I imagine that it should be exciting to you also. And Now, what you will see here in this next chart, that 98 survived out of this physician. 46 were killed in battle or by Chetniks, and 28 are missing in action. We do not know if they survived and escaped or if they were buried somewhere in the field, but this is the rate of survival was 58%, while the percentage of the survival of the general population was only 25%. Righteous among the nation, this is an award that Israeli government gives to those whom they consider that they saved some Jews, and while doing that, they also risk their lives. Doctors Ante, Vuletic, and Selsky nurtured and guarded the physician and their families even after the physician defected to the partisans by not reporting of their departure to the authorities. In 1943, this team dared to refuse to cure and to hand over the Jews that remain. I said that Himmler asked to give all the Jews, and Pavlich wrote and he said, you must liquidate this mission, you have to send all the doctors. And these two, Selsky and Vuletic, said, look, we are not sending them back because there is a new epidemic. They invented the name of a new epidemic. And he said, if you will take the doctors, we will not heal the Nazi soldiers at all. We will not have a manpower to heal them. And they refused, and these doctors really remained. Dr. Gruner remained there till the end. Now, unfortunately, Yad Vashem gave the righteous among the nation to Dr. Ante Vuletic, but they forgot Dr. Stanko Selsky, and I am deeply saddened by it because he was the one that really worked. Dr. Gruner told me that there were skirmishes between partisans and the Ustasha in Samaria where he was, and Dr. Selsky sent him a special car to take him and bring him to safety. So this is how they cared about these people. In 1945, after the end of World War II, and continuing through the years of Yugoslav communist regime, the Jewish physicians who participated in the syphilis expedition or a mission and in the Croatian National Guard were placed at some political disadvantage. They had to explain and justify their volunteering to work for the NDH regime. Political realities made it risky to admit outright that they consented to join this expedition or mission because they wished to live and because by joining they also shielded their family. So in all the media, in all the books, in all this, you will see that this mission was called hard labor, forced labor, slave labor, whatever, but not by its correct name. And in fact, this group was the most privileged among all the survivors because they had their property, they had their bank accounts, they had their families. And they called it a slave labor. And this must be corrected. I actually wrote at one time, how did Yad Vashem believe at Neifeld and some other doctors when they told them that they out of their own free will, went to Bosnia to rescue Muslims. This is not a Jewish nature to go and leave your family and volunteer to go to Bosnia to heal Muslims. How nobody questioned them for years? I'll have a summary. Ustaša atrocities must be viewed in the broad context of Nazi German terror and murder. Although the Ustaše were willing Nazi collaborators, in Yugoslavia, anti-Semitism was not deeply rooted, despite the barrage of German and locally generated propaganda. Thus, when the Germans tasked local authorities to carry out genocidal measures against Jews, the actual implementation was tempered by other considerations. Pragmatism played a role. They needed the people, as did pre-war collegial relationship and humanitarian values also. Croatian officials undertook risk to preserve the lives of 169 Jewish physicians. That is why their survival should be considered genuinely as an altruistic, as a friendly act. The effort succeeded due also to the complicity of the ordinary Bosnian Muslim. The fact that they did not go and tell the Ustaše where they could have gained some monetary reward for it is also admirable. So we have a very big group of people that joined in this effort to rescue this 169 Jewish physicians. And if you take 5 members of their family, we have more than 650 people. Rescue efforts prove that dictators, as I said, can be defeated. In this context, I would like to emphasize that rescue of the physician and similar rescue efforts in the categories defined in my book attest that attitudes and intention of the population must be considered by historians along with outcome in the judgment of historical events. So it is not only the deed, because it is true, 75% of the population perish, but it does not automatically mean that everybody was guilty, that everybody hated the Jews, that everybody wanted them dead. And I must tell you that I undertook this work at a very, maybe I'll talk now in Croatian. Ja sam uzela i taj posao kad je moja kćerka koja ima 6 djece počela pitati šta se desilo našim obiteljima za vrijeme rata. I ja zbiljam nisam znala ništa. Ja nisam imala odgovor. Ovi koji su mi mogli pomoći nisu više s nama. I ja sam išla i gledala u dosta knjiga prije da sam se odlučila da ću ja ići na doktorat i nisam našla ništa od ljudima koji su se spasili. Ja sam mislila u mojim djetinjstvu, prvo ja sam se spasila i moja majka se spasila i svi ljudi koje sam ja poznala u mojem djetinjstvu iz Jugoslavije, svi su bili spašeni, svi su preživjeli. Ja nisam znala od ovima koji nisu bili živi, svakako. I ja sam vidjela kako je mojoj majci bilo teško i kako hrabra je ona bila da je ostavila njene roditelje, sestre, sve u Sarajevu, jer je čula da ništa dobro neće se desiti u Sarajevu i ona ima ovu dužnost da spasi ovo dijete i ona je ostavila sviju i pobjela. To je hrabrost. I ja sam mislila isto o ovim ljudima koji su spašavali. I znala sam da je moja mama imala nekoliko spasitelja, ali nisam znala ko su to bili. I ja sam htjela da pronađem to ne samo ili ne radi povijesti. Ja sam htjela da dokažem mojim unucima da su bili dobri ljudi. Neću da ostavim ovaj svijet bez da oni znaju da su bili dobri ljudi. I to je bila moja motivacija da idem za doktorat, da radim dan i noć, da dobijem Fulbrightovu stipendiju, da dođem tu i da imam opportunity, da imam priliku da istraživam ne samo jedan dokument iz 1941. možda 3 iz 1942. i one gaps, one rupe što su se stvorile među jedan dokument da ja to izmislim šta se desilo. Ja sam prošla sve te dokumente jedan po jedan i oni dokumenti su sami stvorili priču. Ja nisam trebala da stvorim priču. Priča se stvorila. Jer sam, kao što sam rekla, ja nisam znala, ništa nisam znala od arkibišopu Stepincu. I ja, kad sam čula od ljudi koji sam ja intervjuo, da je bio arkibišop koji je spašavao Židove, ja kažem, ko je taj čovjek? Ja sam mislila da svi katolici, bišopi, arkibišopi, što god, mrze Židove. I kad sam počela gledati šta ima u dokumentima od ovom čovjeku od 1936. godine, kad je on počeo da moli njegove ljude da skupe novac za ove emigrante koji su došli iz drugih zemalja i onda u 1938 moli svoje studente da se ne ponašaju kao divljaci, nego misle kako će oni biti ponosni kao Hrvati i kakav ponos će oni dobiti. I kad je on u njegovim misama od početka, ne u 1943. Od početka je on govorio da nema rase. Ima samo jedna rasa, Božja rasa. I on je rekao, Bog, kad se mi dolazimo kod Boga, mi nismo bijeli, crveni i svakojaki. Mi je samo naša duša i on će vidjeti šta smo mi učinili u tom svijetu. I tako je polako i on kad je on vidio da oni koji su se prekrstili, prvo je on bio protiv toga jer je rekao zašto bi mi prekrstili Srbe ako su oni već bili pokršteni. Oni su pokršteni kao mi. Ali kad je vidio da njihov broj je mnogo veći, manje su ubijeni ako su bili pokršteni, on je dao tajnu order, naredbu da idu, ako dođu kod njih Židovi ili Srbi i oni kažu moj život je u opasnosti, nemojte moliti od njih da znaju ništa o našoj religiji. Činite, konvertirajte jer je naša dužnost prvo spašati ljude. I on kaže, i kad ovo ludo vrijeme prođe, oni koji su se konvertirali u našu religiju jer vjeruju u tome, oni će ostati u našu crkvu, a drugi će otići u njihove crkve. On nije vidio ništa loše u tome jer je on mislio samo spašavati ljude. I ja vam se zahvaljujem. Ako neke, ja ću biti jako sretna da odgovorim ako znam, ako mogu.
Molim vas, evo, dopustit ćemo jedno, 2, 3 pitanja. Ne bih volio da ulazimo u neke prevelike diskusije. Ako imate kratko pitanje koje je vezano uz ovo predavanje, naravno koristim još prigodu još jednom da doktorici Gitman, dragi prijateljici Ester, zahvalim na ovom predavanju. Sada ste vidjeli, možda bi studenti najbolje mogli potvrditi kako oni ozbiljno rade sve od početka o raznim temama, pa i ovo, i koje je sigurno ovo obogaćenje za naše sveučilište i doprinos razvoja ovog sveučilišta, a s druge strane i ono što je profesor...
Moram vam reći da smo mi počeli od Biblije, od Abrahama tu, tako da nismo mislili da je antisemitizam se rodio u 1941. u Hrvatskoj. On se rodio daleko, daleko odavde u Holy Land.
I Ester zna mnogima, evo to mogu samo potvrditi, kad je ona dolazila ovdje, nikakvi uvjeti nisu bili postavljeni. Ja sam rekao, i ta je tema, to je to, i u rekao bih, znanstvenoj poštenju, logici, ona je to prihvatila i radila i mislim da je to dobra stvar. No dobro, evo, molim vas jedno ili drugo pitanje, izvolite, ako ima kakvih pitanja, možda kažem, držeći se temelja, ako nešto želite pitati doktoricu Gitman, da vas zanima. Evo, dekan filozofskog obitelji.
Meni je drago da sam čuo vaše predavanje i kao dekan, ako s njim, ne bi vas pitanja postavili, nego bi zamolio ako bismo mogli, budući da smo mi nedavno osnovali i odsjek za judaistiku i osnovali smo studij, tu je i kolegica Brandur koja je sa te katedre, da bi volio ako bi nam mogli poslati ovo predavanje u prezentaciji, tako da ga imamo.
Ja, svakako, ja. Mnogo toga je u knjizi.
Treba uvijek osvjetiti sa svih strana i mislim da je to i dužnost i našeg fakulteta, zato smo i osnovali taj studij judaistike, osnovali smo naravno i osnovali smo čak i jedan Moses Mendelssohn institut područni, jer i to se treba osvjetiti. Ali treba naravno, što se tiče Hrvatske, to sa svih strana. I baš vam hvala što ste ovako jedno predivno predavanje.
Hvala.
Lijepo, evo ja odmah isto zahvaljujem dekanu filozofskog, naravno, koji nam pomaže i koji je pored instituta za povijest i drugih institucija, da mi započnemo svoj studij povijesti i da dođemo do ovoga trenutka, pa evo, mi ćemo svoje materijale svakako i poslati. Izvolite, može slobodno, izvolite. A vi ste, evo.
Hvala, ja, rado, ja. I zašto nije postao svetnik? Jeste vi posljedni?
Unuci.
Hvala.
Hvala, to nam je drago. Ima li još kakve pitanja? Hvala lijepo. Ako nema, evo, zahvaljujem. Ja znam da bi bilo mnoštvo, ali ovdje ćemo završiti. Evo, svima vam zahvaljujem na pažnji. Hvala lijepo svima što ste došli, medijima koji su to popratili, našima ovdje na sveučilištu koji su to organizirali. Vidimo se nekom drugom prigodom, a evo naše goste, evo i biskup bih zamolio na jedno malo druženje sa doktoricom Gitman na drugom kraju. Hvala lijepo.
Hvala.